Hey guys, before I take you to today's content, I want you guys to take advantage of our Pro Web Legal Services Initiative that we have going on right now in the second quarter of 2024. What is that? Well, it's a website that you get 100% full-blown website with 1 year maintenance, comes with SSL certificate, hosting, etc., all for 50% less than the normal cost. This offer used to be $4,500. We're now giving it to you for $2,250, 100%, no strings attached. All you have to do is go to the show notes right now and click on the link where it says Pro Web Legal, and you'll get all the information. So until then, enjoy the show.
Hello and welcome to Marketing Solutions for Local Law Firms, the podcast that provides you with all the latest digital marketing tools, tips, and strategies you will need to implement in order to stay ahead of your competition. If you are looking to substantially increase your caseload in the next 6 months, this is the podcast for you. And now, here's the host of our show, the local business guy himself, Frank Deming.
Hello, everyone. This is Frank Deming, the local business guy. Welcome to another episode of Marketing Solutions for Local Law Firms. Happy Wednesday. Happy hump day, everyone. I hope you guys are having a rockin' week thus far. Today is another episode of Meet the Attorney. And today I'm going to bring in a topic that actually I have not had since season 4 last year. And that is the topic of estate planning. And to talk to us about that is none other than the great Erin Lewis. How's it going, Erin?
It is going good. Thank you so much for having me.
Hey, thanks for being here. I know you're a very, very busy attorney, as all of you are. So let's just hop to it. Can you just tell us, who are you and what do you do?
Yes. So my name is Erin Lewis. As you said, I am an attorney. I am a general practice attorney with a specialty in trusts and estates. So under that umbrella is the estate planning, estate administration, guardianships. I also do the specialized trust and estate civil litigation. And that pretty much sums up my practice. The trust and estates is my sweet tooth.
Okay. So I misspoke. So you're a general attorney who specializes, or not specializes, but that focuses primarily on estate planning kind of things, right?
Correct. Yeah, that's a fair summation of it all.
All right. So I apologize for misrepresenting you. So I'm glad I was able to get you to discuss this. Now, so tell us about, I know you say you're general counsel. Give us some insight as to what kind of cases come your way on a monthly basis.
Yeah, for sure. So at my prior firm, before I recently went out and started my own firm, I was a partner there. And
congratulations.
Thank you so much. I was a partner there, and initially all we did at that firm was estate planning before I got there. Eventually, I headed the estate administration department and expanded the firm. How I got into where now I'm marketing and everything as a general practitioner is really with the estate administration, because so many things come with that. So the estate administration is essentially somebody has passed away at this point, maybe with or without a will. And now we're administering their estate. So now we're trying to decide, where does their stuff go if they don't have a plan in place? If they do have a plan in place, let's make sure their stuff gets to the right people who they want it to go to per the plan that they have in place. And with that, a lot of different things open up. So usually at the minimum, people die with a house, for example. So all of a sudden now we're in the real estate world, right? Whether we're selling the house, representing the seller or the buyer. A lot of times with the estate administration, contract disputes might come up, foreclosure matters might come up. I have collection cases come up because we're dealing with creditors and things like that. And that's how I really got jump started into the general practice world, because all of these different things would come up with the estate administration. And then I just gradually started taking them all on. So now, as a general practitioner, again, essentially anything that comes my way that I can handle, which may include landlord-tenant matters, foreclosures, real estate, collection cases. Let me think else. And that's the big umbrella with the civil litigation as well, because all of those matters can ultimately lead to litigation in court. So it's a big umbrella with the civil litigation. But yeah, that's essentially some of the cases that come down the pipe for me.
Okay. And now, so you mentioned having, starting your own practice. What are your, when I get into specific, what kind of goals you're looking for in 2024? What are you looking to accomplish? And why did you decide to step out on your own?
Yeah, for sure. So maybe this may be more of like a 5-year plan, but we'll see. I like to think that I like to think that I'm pretty ambitious. But right now I'm barred in New Jersey. I'm in the process of also becoming barred in New York, and Pennsylvania. I do work with another firm of counsel, so I do New York work. But as far as getting my license in New York, that is in the process going on. So those are the 3 that I would love to be barred in. I think as far as the actual practice, and I roll this all in with personal growth as well, because it's definitely frightening to start your own business, right? To even have the gumption, the right word? Yeah, the gumption, right? To jump out there, and then it becomes sink or swim, and it's all on you, right? I think what pushed me to that point was at my prior firm. I was a partner there, which was great, and I learned a lot of great things there. But then it got to the point where I realized that it was no longer going to be serving me, and that I needed to make the decision, right? It wasn't an easy decision. I thought it through. And then also you have to think about the just the reality of it all, to say, can you do this? Can you actually go out on your own and survive? Because some people I think, and just talking to different people, there's a lot of people out there who have maybe the belief in themselves to go and do these things, start a business, but actually can't do it, whether that's money, no funding, or whatever the case may be. So once I actually got past the part of like, okay, I need to get out of here. This isn't where I want to be anymore. I don't think this is where I need to be anymore. I want to keep growing. And I think maybe my growth will be stunted if I stay here, and I won't be able to flourish into the person that I want to be. And also that I want to practice law the way that I want to practice law, which was very important for me. So once you get past that, where you say, okay, I'm going to try to jump out here and let's see if I can fly. Can I do it? Can I sustain? So I like to think that I'm very thoughtful. I think we're trained that way as attorneys, to be thoughtful. So you can have great ideas, but can they become reality? And fortunately, everything has aligned for me that I was able to do that. But so that's pretty much the backstory there of me going out on my own.
No, okay. Well, that's kudos for you for doing that. It takes a lot of courage. So we applaud you for that, and we wish you nothing but success in this new endeavor, if you will.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
How are you how are you marketing yourself? Like, are you marketing yourself as an estate planning or a general counsel? Like how does that look?
Yeah, I think that, you know, a lot of people, or let me go back. I think that you can kind of, when you say estate planning, it kind of gets honed in on that, because even with that, I hear a lot of people say, okay, you're a estate planning attorney. There is a difference between the estate planning, the estate administration, even just that simple difference there that I don't know that people always realize. So I think it ultimately gets put into the box of estate planning, and there's nuances there even. So the big overall term would be trust and estates for that world.
Mm.
I like to say general practitioner because I really do enjoy the other things that I do. A big thing that I do like to do is the civil litigation. I think that allows me to be crafty. It allows me to think. It keeps me, on my toes, depending on what the matter is. So I do like to say general practitioner with a specialty in trust and estates, because that is where I specialize. That's my thing.
Mhm.
And and
Is that when you say it's your thing, is that your passion? Would you say it's your passion?
I would say that it is my passion is to help people.
Okay.
And I think that with the estate planning and the estate administration, I'm able to help people that truly need it in that realm. So that's my passion, helping people. My background, or what I initially thought I was going to do, and this is why I say that I have to be passionate about this, because this is not what the area that I thought I would practice in. When I was in law school, I thought I was going to be a criminal attorney. I thought I was going to come out. I was going to be this hotshot New York attorney, a criminal crusader. And I was going to do all these great things for the people. And I graduated with my criminal law certificate.
Mm.
However, trust and estates, I was always good at it. I always liked it. I remember in law school, I actually got the highest grade in my class for the trust and estate classes. That was my thing. But I didn't feel like I was, I guess, as passionate as criminal law. So
Mm.
I graduate. I actually did a criminal law internship my last semester of law school. And then as I'm waiting for my bar results, I just put out applications, right? At that point, you just want a job. You want to start getting experience, you just want to start getting experience. You're not licensed yet. So wherever you're going, you're either going as a legal assistant or a paralegal or whatnot. So the first job that I got was at my prior firm, and it was a estate planning firm. And I was there, and I liked it. And I remember just a few weeks into the job, I had also applied to a few prosecutors' offices, and I got a call, and I remember taking the call and getting into those sort of positions. It's competitive. They get a bunch of applications from the up and coming graduates and things like that. So I was happy to get the call. And I remember saying, thinking on the phone, I just started here a few weeks. I'm liking it. What should I do? And then I remember saying, can I call you back? And
Really?
in my mind, I'm saying, that's it. They're like, no, they're on to the next one, calling the next person at this point. So, one thing about me is if I start something, I want to master it and I want to finish it. So I think that was part of when I got that call. My thought, I've only been here for a few weeks. I like it so far, but now I'm here and I want to master this. And if I go anywhere else after this, great, but I'm going to be the best at this first. And that's pretty much why I say yes, passionate, because I had the opportunity to go to different places, focus on different other practice areas, but I guess over 6 years now, here I am, and I'm still loving what I do. So
That is an
Yeah.
awesome story.
Yeah.
And I call you
Yeah.
back. I think that's classic.
Yeah.
All right. So now you're in the general counsel realm. You're in estate planning. Do you see yourself ever getting in any kind of criminal defense?
We'll be back after a quick break.
Hey guys, I hope you guys are enjoying today's content. While I have you on here, I want to introduce you to a promo that we have going on for the spring of 2024 for all legal practices throughout the U.S. I have an outstanding offer that we've never been able to offer before, but we want to do it because you have been an avid listener. We're only promoting this to people who listen to the show. So if you're an attorney and you are an avid listener to the show and you're thinking about possibly opening your own practice, you want to pay attention to this announcement. We are offering a full website with hosting, SSL certificate, online booking service, online appointment management, and more, and much, much more, with a 1-year maintenance, all for $2,250. That's $2,250 one-time fee, and you have a full-fledged website. If you want to know more about this, just give us a call at 888-416-7752 or send us an email at info@lbmsllc.com. Just make sure that you mentioned that you heard it on the show, and we'll definitely get you that discount. So with that, I'm going to bring you back to the content.
It's always back there, kind of in the back of my mind. One of my really good friends, who was actually my mentor in law school, and I still talk to him regularly. We kind of had the same path. We both wanted to do criminal law. He actually started at the public defender's office. And he actually transitioned into civil law after being with the public defender's office for a few years. So I know that it's something that can happen. What I see with a lot of civil practitioners is that they're a civil practitioner and may also practice in the municipal court, which is still technically criminal division, criminal law. So I don't know, maybe I'll inch my way over somewhere. It just, right now it's not where I'm at, or
Not in
in the
cards.
foreseeable future. Yeah, in the foreseeable future, I don't see myself going there, but never say never. And there's definitely a fire in my belly. You see these stories and things come up about, the injustices and things like that. And there's always something that sparks to just say, that's what you always thought you were going to do. You thought you were going to be defending these people and things like that. So I haven't lost the spark or the passion for it. It's just not where I currently find myself.
It's
Yeah.
interesting. I like that. So when you stepped out on your own, what was the biggest fear that you had? What was because I know, haven't done it myself. I did it back in 2011 is when I walked away. I started my business in 2007. I walked away in 2011 from corporate America. I haven't done it myself. I know that there's some, there's like a little pit in your stomach. Well, what were those thoughts going through your mind? What was that like?
It's funny, and I know I had said earlier about even having the gumption to go out and do it. I think that when I initially made the decision that I was going to go out on my own, I was ready for it. So let's go back. So I was at my prior firm, and I was a partner there. When I left that firm, I did go to another firm very briefly. And within the matter of being there for about 3 weeks, I realized that it was not for me.
Mm.
So I think that step too, also I was like, I'm not gonna do this anymore. Um, I'm gonna invest in myself, and I'm going to, jump out and see if I can fly. So I remember being there about 3 weeks, having a conversation with my mentor and saying, this just does not feel right. It's not for me. I don't share the same values as these people. I'm not able to practice the way I want to practice being here. And I remember him saying, oh, Erin, you need to just do, you need to do at least 6 months. It's still very early. Get in there. You're still getting your footing together and everything like that. And I remember saying to him, this doesn't feel right, but I'll try. And I felt like I put forth my best effort and it just wasn't working. And one thing about me is it's all about a feeling. And if I feel like something is not right, I'm not going to stay in it for long, and I'll get out of it so long as I have the means to do it. And I did. So by the time it was like I had made the decision to leave that firm, I remember having a conversation with the other partners, because I was hired there as a partner as well. And I remember getting out of that meeting with them. And at that point, I did not know if I was going to try to go to another firm or start my own firm. And it was just like automatic. Before I knew it, I was just on the computer forming my LLC within the matter of an hour after I was getting out of that meeting, right? And it just flowed after that. And so I think when I was initially going out on my own, doing the legwork, forming the LLC, doing all of that stuff, it just felt like this is something that I should be doing. So at that moment, I didn't really have any fears or reservations, when I was doing that portion of it. It wasn't until after, that I did it that I was like, okay, now let's go back. So I kind of backtracked and I'm like, okay, can you really do this? So at this point, I've already made the application to form the LLC and everything like that, and to make these moves. And then now it's kind of like, okay, let's take a breath. Let's reevaluate. Can you do this? Okay, let's look at everything, financially, everything like that. Would this be possible? And then it all added up. So I think it all moved so quickly for me, but all fueled by passion and what didn't feel right, that that's what it was. I don't think I had real time for fear or reservations. It was just like, this doesn't feel right. You're not comfortable at this firm. You don't want to be here anymore. So get out. You're going to leave and get out of here either way. Do you really want to try to find a home, or do you want to build your own home? And I think that's what I made the decision where I said, I don't want to have a seat at anybody else's table. I want to build my own table. And so that was it. So I guess, I don't know, maybe the traditional fears or reservations that people may have, the big ones, I didn't really have that, because everything moved so fast and I was so passionate that I was going to make this work, and I wasn't going to force myself to be in an uncomfortable position or a position I didn't want to be in. That it just flowed. And then, you have your days where maybe, for me, doing way more administrative things, right, than what you would normally do, or things like that, just those things you don't have to worry about being a partner at a firm. But then I also appreciate all of that stuff, because it's yours, So yeah, I don't think I had the traditional reservations or fears. Maybe minor things where you just think, I don't know. I don't even know if I had those thoughts where I ever questioned myself to say, have you done the right thing? It just feels right,
Just feels
It just
right.
feels right. It just feels right. And I think that everything that has transpired since I started my own firm, just everything has been an affirmation that you did the right thing at the right time.
Yes,
And
confirmation. Yeah.
yeah, that's what I think. And even that, what I say when I went to that second firm briefly, I say that that was just a stepping stone. I think that everything happens for a reason, and I'm religious, so I think God also has, you know, plans and makes everything happen for a reason. And I feel like I almost needed to go there to thrust me into having the gumption to go and start my own firm. So that's
Hmm.
why I call that I say it's a pit stop or a stepping stone, because it wasn't, I wasn't there long enough to put any roots down, but you know, it forced me into build my own foundation. And now I'm working up foundation ground up and it's mine.
There you
Um,
go. Now,
so
and part of that 5-year plan we kind of touched on earlier. Is there anything like in taking on you're gonna maybe hiring a new partner, an associate, a paralegal? Like what's that? What's your growth plan? Like, are you looking to do that kind of stuff or not really?
yeah, for sure. So at my initial prior firm, um, I had a really great paralegal. I guess he's at a new firm now. So when I left, he left that firm immediately after me.
Mm.
Um, and my goal, I guess I won't say his name, but my goal is that, and we're still in communication, is that I get him back one day. But I
Mm.
think more in a, maybe as like a chief operating officer, because one thing with me is people that I can trust. I really trusted him.
Mm.
I was there for a little over 5 years, and I think I had him as my paralegal for a little over 4 years. And we formed a great relationship. And I think that that's very important to have people in your house, at your table, that you trust. And somebody in a position like a chief operating officer, they're dealing with numbers and they're dealing with, our funds and things like that. It has to definitely be somebody that I trust. And I can honestly say I trust this person.
Hmm.
And that would be ideal for me to bring him back in that capacity. And of course, to grow the firm, I don't really know, if I have those maybe traditional goals to grow this firm into something huge, right? That I have multiple associates. Maybe it's somewhere I get partners, maybe somewhere down the road. Um, but I like the idea that it's still something that I can manage. I am
Hmm.
one of those attorneys where I'm not having the calls routed to my assistant. The calls are coming to me. I like to be the first person that people talk to. I'm of the idea that if you're calling a law firm, you're looking to talk to a lawyer. Um, I want to be the face of the firm. I want to be that. I want people to feel like I care about them. Um, and it's definitely important for me that people on my team, so as I grow and get bigger and I can't take all the calls, that I have people in place that I feel comfortable that will handle clients the way that I would handle clients. And this goes back to me being able to practice the way I want to practice, in a capacity that I couldn't do at another firm.
Hmm. I got you. So let's say let's see which way I want to go now. So let's talk about your like there's a ton of other firms, right, that do general practitioner, a general counsel, estate planning, etc. What is your I don't want to say superpower, but for lack of a better term, let's just keep it there. Superpower. What is your superpower? What makes you different from your competitors?
Right. Um, So I one part of definitely being a smaller firm is the networking. And I
Hmm.
enjoy the networking. Networking is important for any small business. Um,
Hmm.
so I like to go out there in the field and I call that beating the bushes, right? You beat the bushes for business. So you have to be in people's faces. A lot of times it's about numbers. How many people can you get in front of? So for me, if it's that I have a speaking opportunity or something like that, I'm going to do it. I don't care if it's in front of 10 people as opposed to 100 people. You know, I've done speaking engagement at churches. And then I've done larger speaking engagements. So that's something for me. I liked, and I think that, you know, maybe I don't want to say lazy, but I think a lot of people got lazy with COVID. Everything, everything doesn't have to be via Zoom, and everything shouldn't be via Zoom. That's great for some things, but for networking, if I can meet you face to face, I'm not shying away from that. So I think that that sets me apart, you know, this day and age, now that we're so swarmed and depend on technology so much, which is a great thing. So I think really that face-to-face interaction, not shying away from being in front of people. And then I think when I am in front of people, I would like to think that I appeal to people. One thing about me, which I hear a lot, and I'll say that I'm an introvert. One thing I think is that people might not have the correct definition what an introvert is. So essentially, it's that being around people and interacting with people can be draining for you. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you don't like to do it. And I do like to do it, but I would classify myself as an introvert. Most people that meet me or know me, they automatically assume that I am an extrovert. And I always think, well, that's good, because then you automatically think that I'm a people person. And there was probably something about me that was appeasing to you, so that's great. So yeah, I think that that's probably as far as the networking and what's setting me aside is that I'll go to the networking events. I'll be in person. If I'm at a networking event and we've exchanged business cards, I'm going to reach out to you to set up a one-on-one to truly get to know more about your business. I'm going to ask to meet with you. I don't just take my business cards and they collect dust, you know, on the corner of my desk somewhere. I think, you know, part of this, or the majority of it, is showing up, right? You have to show up, and then you have to follow up, and follow through. So yeah, I guess
you put it to use.
Yeah, for sure. Otherwise you're wasting your time. So I don't like to waste my time.
Okay.
Time is money, right?
Amen to that. Who do you help most?
Who do I help most? I mean, my go-to answer is everybody, right? I help everybody. I think, you know, there's definitely a misconception that estate planning is just for elderly individuals. One thing for me that I really try to get across to people is that nowadays, younger people have a lot more assets than they did, you know, years ago. Before it used to be that you would work your whole life, right? And you don't really have much of anything, you know, towards the end, and you're older and things like that. Now, with just how different the world is, and younger people are making more money, and just different considerations with that it's a lot of younger individuals that need estate planning. One thing that I offer at my firm, it's called an adult child power of attorney. You know, something that people don't realize when they're sending their kids away to college. They're adults at that point. So God forbid something happens to them, you know, the medical facility or whatnot could refuse to talk to the parents, and they say that they're an adult. Do you have a power of attorney on file? So that's a big one, the considerations when children are going away to college. I think maybe helping the most, Like I said again, I guess that's more of my target area to kind of get that away that only older individuals need estate planning. But, you know, a good clientele for me are families with anybody with special needs,
Mm-hmm.
um, doing special needs planning, blended families, people that are recently divorced and have to get estate planning documents or update estate planning documents. Um, I would say big life changes, right? So
Mm.
deaths, divorces, remarriages, blended families, kids going to college, people with special needs. Something where it may get a little bit more complicated
Right.
and anything like that.
Mm-hmm. So that's good because I was my next question was going to be, and you just answered it actually, was, do you think, anyone needs an estate plan, or it's just for the rich or for the old? But you just answered that. So
Yes, yes, yes. That is definitely one of those beliefs that I try to dispel. It's like, oh my God, if I'm not a millionaire, then I don't need an estate plan. And everybody has a default estate plan, right? That's the
hmm
law. The New Jersey law says, um, if you don't have something in writing, intestate succession. So if you're
Yep.
married, your spouse. However, now this is where things can get complicated, right? Okay, if you're married and all the children are of that marriage, okay, everything can go to your spouse. Now, what if it's that's a second marriage and you have kids from the first marriage? Now it's more complicated and the law differs on that, right? And now
hmm
we could be looking at issues. What if your children don't like your second spouse? So
Yeah.
there's already conflict there and you don't have anything in writing. Um, if you're not married, to the children, again, um, is it children from different relationships, half siblings? I've had estates where, you know, it was afterborn children. Somebody had a will and then they had a child years and years later, never updated it. Now there's like an issue, there's questions. Those kids had never met this child before. Um, you know, Again, I think a big one definitely is with second marriages and when there's conflict between prior kids, new spouse.
Yeah.
Um,
Definitely.
yeah, that's
Definitely.
always a big one. So blended families is there's usually something there, some sort of conflict. Um, Unfortunately, but that's the beauty of having a plan in place and the misconception that you have to be a millionaire to have this. Look, if you at least have a house, that's something. You have an asset. You want to direct where that goes. You know, and I'm somebody who likes to be in control. I like to be in control of my stuff, my future, my plan. I don't want I don't want the government telling me where my stuff goes. I don't care if I have a dollar. I want to if it's that I want this person, that person, this person, that person to each get a quarter, that's how I want it to go.
Exactly. It's your wish.
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
that's the best thing. I have a quick story to share with you. I was one of these people who thought I didn't need an estate plan. A long, long time ago. I used to work. This is before I had my own business. I used to work for a firm. I used to do a lot of travel, a lot of traveling. That firm actually had a deal with an estate planning um, law practice that you could get a free will. I mean, you can get a free will from them. All you have to
Wow.
do, not a huge. It wasn't anything huge. Now, if you wanted anything extra from them, that had to come out of your pocket, but at least the will part was yours.
Yeah, like a
And
simple will. Yeah.
yeah, just a simple will. So I just ignored it and ignored it and ignored it. One time I was flying to San Francisco. I was flying from New York to San Francisco. And on the way to San Francisco, there was some complications, major complications in the air. And right, the whole mask thing came down, and we had to assume the position down there, brace ourselves for landing. And
Oh my
long story
gosh.
short, thank God that everything is fine, obviously, because I'm here, right? And
I'm glad to see you, Frank. I'm glad to see you.
but the funny thing about that is the first thing that I came to mind as soon as I was out of that plane. I landed in San Francisco. I wasn't even back in New York yet. I landed in San Francisco. I said, you know what? If I'm granted the opportunity to get back to New York safely, the first thing I'm going to do is set up my will. That incident changed my whole perspective of that thing.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, that's the thing is, that's the whole point, right? It's not even about planning for the unknown because we all know that we're going to die one day, right? That's morbid. Unfortunately, being in this line of work, I talk about death like it's nothing, but we all know
Yeah.
that that's going to happen. It's just a question of when, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is very scary. So I think that that is the most difficult part. It is difficult for people to take the time to sit down and think about their own mortality because that's what is always coming to mind when you're thinking about an estate plan, thinking about who's going to get my stuff, thinking about these different things. The underlying thought, I believe, for people was just like, oh my God, this is real. I am going to die one day, and it's almost as if when you're younger, just talking numbers and what it is when you're younger, it should probably be less scary. You're younger, you're healthy, your life is starting out. To do it when you're, maybe a young family or something like that. And then you kind of do it and at least you have something in place. And then, but the thought is like, then you have another 40, 50 years of life, right?
Yeah.
When you're older and you're doing it towards the end of life, that's probably when it's really going to hit you in the face to think about God, how much longer do I really have left? So I think even for the older community, it can be that much more scary,
Mm-hmm.
because you really start counting numbers and it's just like, okay, my lifespan and where are we at, So but I think if there's any hesitation, a lot of times those are the two big misconceptions, right? Is that you have to have a lot of money to have an estate plan. And I guess isn't a misconception, but the thought of I'm thinking about me dying one day. It's very
Mm-hmm.
morbid and it's scary for people, and that's understandable. Um, and I acknowledge that, it's very, very sensitive. It's emotional to think about doing these documents and things like that. But being on both sides of it, coming up with the plan where it's much, much easier when you do pass away for your family and getting the estate settled, whether you have a lot or you don't, and then being on the side where there's no plan in place. Now we're doing the estate administration and it's just complete chaos. Um,
Hmm.
so it just, it's a lot. It's a big conversation. But it's an important conversation. And that's like the interesting thing about this is that when you're doing an estate plan, you're not really preparing for the unknown. You're preparing for the
You
known.
you know it's gonna happen.
Yeah,
You just don't know when. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
you're preparing for the no. So it's like an insurance policy, right? You hope that you never have to use it, but why do we all get life insurance? Because we know one day there's going to be a payout on it. We know
Mm-hmm.
one day this will is going to be important. One thing that I offer at my firm is an estate planning package. So any good estate plan has three basic documents: a last will and testament, a living will, and a power of attorney. Arguably, a power of attorney may be the most important document. I mean, the last will and testament is certainly important, but the power of attorney is saying, while I'm still alive, if I ever become incapacitated and can't make decisions for myself, I'm trusting and naming somebody to make decisions and act on my behalf. That's very important because life happens.
Yep.
I think the power of attorney, that's something that may be, depending on what type of power of attorney it is, that's where you may be preparing for the unknown, right? God forbid, you see these things where you're in a horrible car accident. You can no
Yeah.
longer walk, talk, whatever the case may be.
Who's
you
going to
know,
make decisions for you? Yeah.
Yeah, you know, or just aging, right? Now it's becoming where people are getting dementia at a much earlier age than they used to, you know?
Yeah.
And memory loss and things like that. That's where the power of attorney comes into play. So the will, you know, interestingly, is planning for the known. The power of attorney, again, depending on what type, is planning for the unknown. So it's, you know, that is, like I said, arguably the most important document, because now you're just making sure you're covered. You have something in place in case this happens. Where the
Right.
will, we know that will happen. We just don't know when it will happen.
Right. Right. No, that's a clear distinction, and I thank you for that, because just to be clear, that is a difference. What's the website? I would love to have people who are listening to the show check you out. So what's the website people could check out?
Yes, it is elewislegal.com. So the letter E for my first name, Erin, Lewis, my last name, legal.com.
Awesome. I would put that in the show notes for sure. Um, this has been really, really educational. Like, again, I haven't had one of these estate planning type Meet the Attorney episodes in quite some time. So it's good to have a refresher and have a fresh new look from one of New Jersey's best. So I thank you for coming. But before I let you go, is there anything I did not ask you that you think would benefit the audience?
I guess I'll just, reiterate, the things that I offer, and a big one that I'll put out there is the estate planning package that I offer. So the last will and testament, living will, and power of attorney, 3 very important documents. I have packages for single individuals and also couples. And what I can, extend, if there's anybody coming to the firm via, this podcast or through Frank or anything like that, we can extend a 10% discount to any services we're offering. So
that's outstanding. I appreciate that. So there you have it, folks. Head on over to the show notes. There's the link right there with her website on it. Check out Erin Lewis. I think you will be very, very, very impressed by what she has to offer. And don't forget to mention that you heard it through this show so you can get your 10%. So thanks a lot for coming, Erin. Really appreciate your time. I'm going to put an end to this episode. This has been Frank Deming, the local business guy, and you've just been blessed by the great Erin Lewis. Take care, everyone. Until next week.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Marketing Solutions for Local Law Firms, the podcast that provides you with all the latest digital marketing tools, tips, and strategies you will need to implement in order to stay ahead of your competition. If you would like to know more about the topic we discussed on the show today, reach out to Frank and his team at 888-416-7752 and schedule a discovery call with one of the marketing consultants. If you'd like to be a guest on our show, send an email to podcast@lbmsllc.com and we will put you on the schedule. With that being said, until next week, make it a successful digital marketing day. Peace out.